If you're still watching at the end of this story, you'll understand why she couldn't stop crying, and why this moment changed two lives forever. So stay with me, tap like if you believe second chances can come from the most unexpected places, and subscribe because stories like this remind us why being human still matters. She paid him $10,000 to pretend he was someone he wasn't. That was the deal. One night, one lie, one carefully constructed illusion meant to impress a room full of powerful people who already believed they knew everything about her. What she didn't know was that by the end of that night, the truth would break her open in ways no boardroom battle ever had. Elena Cross was the kind of CEO people wrote business case studies about. 42 years old, self-made, sharp-eyed, and relentless. She had built Cross Tech from a two-person startup into a billion-dollar company, and the world admired her discipline almost as much as it whispered about her personal life. Or rather, the lack of one. Every gala, every conference, every high-profile event came with the same questions disguised as jokes. So, Elena, when are we meeting the lucky someone? She laughed them off, but the loneliness followed her home like a shadow. The annual Cross Tech Foundation Gala was different. This year, the board had made it clear. Investors from overseas were coming. Traditional, conservative, family-oriented. One of them had openly said he didn't trust leaders who couldn't manage a home. It was infuriating, unfair, and exhausting, but Elena knew what was at stake. Millions in funding, thousands of jobs, so she made a decision she never thought she would. She would hire a date. That's how she met Daniel Reed. He wasn't an actor. He wasn't suave or polished. He was sitting on the steps outside a closed cafe, jacket folded neatly beside him, reading a dog-eared paperback like he had nowhere else to be. She almost walked past him, heels clicking with purpose, until he looked up and smiled. Not the practiced smile of someone wanting something, but a quiet, genuine one that reached his eyes. She didn't know why she stopped. Maybe it was the way he didn't look intimidated when she introduced herself. Or how he listened, really listened, as she awkwardly explained her offer. $10,000 to attend a formal event, wear a tux, hold her hand, and answer a few basic questions. No intimacy, no future contact. One night, he didn't say yes right away. That surprised her. I need to know why, he said gently. She gave him the short version. Investors, pressure, appearances. He nodded slowly. I'll do it, he said. But not just for the money. I want you to know something first. He told her he was a substitute teacher. That he'd recently lost his apartment after helping his younger sister through medical bills. That he believed dignity mattered, even in pretend situations. Elena respected that more than she expected to. She handed him her card and told him her assistant would handle the details. The night of the gala, Daniel barely recognized himself in the mirror. The tux fit perfectly. Elena had arranged everything. When he arrived, she was waiting at the entrance, poised and radiant in a midnight blue dress. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Something unspoken passed between them, nerves, curiosity, maybe something else. They walked in together. To everyone else, they looked effortless. Daniel played his role flawlessly, but not by pretending to be someone else. He was kind, thoughtful. When investors asked how they met, he told a simple story about running into each other on a bad day and choosing to talk anyway. People laughed. They leaned in. They warmed to him. Elena noticed something strange happening. She was relaxing. Actually relaxing. For the first time in years, she wasn't performing alone. When she spoke, Daniel watched her like she mattered beyond her title. When she faltered, he squeezed her hand, grounding her. Halfway through the evening, she overheard two board members whispering about how human she seemed tonight. She should have felt victorious. Instead, her chest tightened. Later, on the balcony overlooking the city, Daniel confessed something. You know, he said, I've been to places like this before. Not as a guest, as staff. My mom used to clean offices in buildings like this. She taught me how to belong anywhere without pretending I was better than I was. Elena felt something crack. She had spent her life proving she deserved a seat at every table. She had forgotten how to just be. The night ended with applause, promises of funding, and glowing praise. In the car, silence stretched between them. When they arrived at Daniel's stop, Elena handed him an envelope with the money. Thank you, she said, professional again. Safe. He hesitated. You don't have to do this alone, he said quietly. She smiled politely, nodded, and watched him walk away. 3 days later, Elena received an email. It wasn't from an investor or a journalist. It was from a hospital. Daniel had been listed as her emergency contact on a temporary form for the event. There had been an accident. Her assistant couldn't be reached. She was the only one. At the hospital, she learned the truth. Daniel had collapsed from exhaustion. He'd been working nights, tutoring kids for free during the day, skipping meals. The $10,000, he had already transferred most of it to his sister's medical account. When she saw him in that hospital bed, pale but smiling when he noticed her, the walls she'd built for decades finally gave way. She cried. Not quietly, not gracefully. She cried for the years she'd spent equating strength with solitude. For the man who had treated her like a person, not a prize. For the realization that the lie she'd paid for had shown her the most honest connection she'd ever known. Elena paid off his sister's medical debt anonymously. She also did something else. She restructured a foundation grant to support substitute teachers and community educators. She invited Daniel to coffee, not as a contract, but as a question. They didn't rush anything. They talked. They argued. They learned each other's scars. Love didn't arrive like fireworks. It arrived like relief. Months later, at another event, Elena stood alone at the podium and spoke about leadership, vulnerability, and the courage to be seen. Daniel watched from the back of the room, not as a prop, not as a secret, but as a partner. And if you're still here, watching this unfold, remember this: sometimes the roles we play to survive reveal the truth we've been avoiding. Sometimes the person you hire to help you lie ends up teaching you how to live honestly. If this story moved you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay. Because the next story might be the one that reminds you you're not alone either.